Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? What's going on? Welcome to the first episode of Merchants of Novigrad, a bi-weekly podcast where we discuss everything Gwent. Today with me are my two co-hosts, BJ, aka
Hello.
Baby Joseph, and Willem. Also, let me introduce you, our very first and special guest, a true Gwent legend, a true meme master, a widely known and appreciated member of the community, BeeBoBoop. How are you guys doing? What's going on?
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Doing great.
Okay, guys, a few words for our viewers. If you're watching and you have any questions, you can post them in chat. My dear friend BJ is gonna pick a couple of the more interesting ones, and we're gonna answer them at the end of the podcast. Also, if you want to stay in touch off stream, please follow us on Twitter at Novigrad Podcast. And last but not least, a couple of hours after the live stream, the podcast is going to be uploaded onto YouTube. So if that's a platform you would like to watch the podcast on, just make sure to type !YouTube and follow us there. Okay, guys. So I think we could just go on and start with the first segment, which is called What Have You Been Up To? And I think we could just start with our lovely guest. Bebo, how are you doing? What have you been up to? How is Gwent treating you?
Starting with me, oh man. No, I've been Gwent has been great. Last patch obviously was a bit of a rough spot for I think a lot of people, including me. I haven't been playing Gwent very competitively myself lately. I've been mostly memeing as usual. I've been enjoying a lot of NR and a lot of Detlef. But that's about it. I'm just memeing and trying to enjoy it as much as I can. Detlef and NR is what I'm up to.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, you've joined our amazing team as of recently. What prompted you to make the move?
I mean, it's TRS. I don't know. Do I need a reason? TRS is awesome, right?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
I don't know how to explain. I got a lot of buddies already in TRS. I got, obviously Flake, Marktheus, you guys. It's just a good team with a lot of good people, and it just makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's a perfect spot for a content creator like you, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, maybe Ville, what have you been up to, man? Like you are the most competitive player of us all. So how is Gwent treating you? What have you been doing as of late?
I mean, I've just been playing some tournaments, last season, of course, wasn't much fun. Although I did manage to finish quite high, it still felt like really boring because it was play against Fulltest and DJ, and that's about it. I mean, I don't think people even completed 4 factions. I think some people just literally played those 2 decks because I didn't see them play anything else. Might of course be wrong, but I feel like it was very repetitive. And towards the end, I started to, go insane, and I actually took a break for like solid 2 weeks from the ladder completely. Yeah, just focused on some tournaments, and now that the new season has rolled, I actually enjoyed the game again quite much. In fact, I'm excited to see what kind of decks the people from Challenge are gonna also bring and influence. How it's gonna influence this meta.
I think the last season left a mark on absolutely everyone. I actually know quite a few content creators and players who said, I'm afraid to play Gwent now because of how bad this last season was.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, but so how about you, BJ?
I've just been streaming mostly on workday, sometimes in the weekend. And the last season was kind of rough to stream because, the meta was just not very healthy, and, it just kind of sucked out all the fun out of you. And, aside of that, I've just trying to meme around last season, but not taking the season very serious. So that's why I also got kicked out of Pro Rank because I just didn't bother enough to try hard. And so this season finally new patch. Really happy about the new patch. And now I'm back to Pro Rank and hope to stay in Pro Rank again.
Speaking of your late success, I'm not sure if I should be happy for you or mad at you for making the vampire deck. On one hand, I want to thank. BJ is a good friend of mine, and he's a fellow TRS member. We've known each other for ages, it's really good for him to get some sort of recognition. But on the other hand, that deck is so damn strong.
Yeah, so originally I was like talking with Trinet in the Discord, and he was like mentioning Dandelion Poet with Naglafar, and I was like, okay, let's try that with like Deadlaugh, and people were saying, okay, but Deadlaugh Vampires alone is not strong enough to compete with other decks. So then we were talking about maybe with Thrive and like with big boys, and then I just put some cards together, and it eventually ended up doing really well for me.
Yeah. Personally, I'm as always on the less competitive side of Gwent. I'm trying to meme this season. Last season, I actually had a really good run with my Shomar deck, and I'm not sure, guys, if you are aware, but I'm a huge fan of Shomar. It's one of my favorite cards. It's actually my second favorite card after Lethal Kingslayer. But yeah, anyway, yesterday I was playing a lot of Assimilate, and I was like, okay, this is the patch where you can finally play engines. And I played a lot of Assimilate, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, Assimilate is not in a very good spot at the moment.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. So yeah, that's basically what I've been up to, and I'm just trying to be more and more active as a TRS member. So, right now I'm writing weekly articles. It's basically like a natural process for me because I started with weekly videos that basically recap my stream. And then I was asked to just write a piece where I explain the decks I'm playing and you know, a couple of games to just give the readers, the viewers, a little more insight of what I've been doing the past week. And of course, this podcast, it's my baby now. And to be honest, I feel like I have to give credit where it's due. I didn't initially come up with the idea on my own. It was suggested by Dennis. He said, you know, you have a lot to say during your stream. Maybe you should do a podcast. And then I remember that BJ and Villa are doing a co-op every Saturday. So I thought, you know what? Let's invite those guys to be the co-hosts. And then obviously I started working on the visuals and probably just asking everyone, okay, how do I even do it? And then, you know, I saw, okay, BeeBo is a very widely known player. Like, everyone knows him, everyone likes him, so he'll be an amazing first guest. And that's how we got here. But moving on to the next subject, and the first proper subject of the podcast, patch 3.2. What are your guys' experiences, and how do you like this patch? And again, let's start with BeeBo.
Again, me. Oh gosh.
You are the guest. You are in the spotlight. It's all about you now.
Yeah.
Oh no. 3.2. Oh man. Well, I'll start with saying last season I literally played seasonal the whole season. That's how bad it was for me. So I played seasonal mode and seasonal arena the whole season because I just couldn't play. I literally couldn't play. Like in the past couple seasons, like the one before that, I was on vacation in like Thailand and Laos and stuff, and I didn't play competitive. And then I didn't play competitive last season, so I was down at like rank 15. And so this season, the changes they made, like I don't want to go into too much detail right now, I guess, about everything. I want to give other people a chance, but in general, the changes that have been made have pretty much convinced me to actually play Gwent again and actually try. And so, like in the past 3 or 4 days, I think I've went from rank 15 to rank 5. And next week, I'll finally go back into Pro Ladder. I actually have motivation. In other words, like this season is just motivating me to actually play and try again. I don't know. Everything they've done is great. Of course, we still have like, you know, Hyper Thin and some of those decks that are a bit annoying to play against, all the NG. But in general, you know,
did you just offend the best faction?
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I'll keep my opinion for later. Let's go with BJ. BJ, how do you like the patch?
Well, it's a lot better than last season. You know, everyone knows about last season. We already mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah, it's like beating a dead horse now.
Yeah. So exactly. So let's talk about the current patch. I think the current patch is very, very. It has a lot of variations. Like you have a lot of factions that are being played on the ladder, and especially Scored Hell is seeing a lot of play. Monsters is seeing a lot of play. Northern Realms is seeing a lot of play, and G. And since yesterday, or maybe the day before yesterday, Syndicate is seeing some more play since they they fixed the coin bug. So yeah, I think all the factions are being played as of recent in this patch. So yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, so to continue with the idea of just general opinions on the patch, Villa, you are a competitive player. You're seeing the weirdest and the strongest decks on the ladder. So what's your take on patch 3.2?
I actually like it. There's a lot of variation decks. I don't think I've played against the same deck more than like a couple times in a row, honestly. And that's something new, because previous seasons it's always been play against the best deck and try to beat it somehow. So yeah, I actually quite enjoy it. This means new strategies are of course possible, on ladder in general. And yeah, I've been actually playing a bit of Poison Syndicate, and it's actually working out fairly well. Of course, there's the Francesca is of course like very strong.
Yeah.
You don't really beat that, but then there's always gonna be that one strong deck that people complain about. So I'm not gonna complain about it. Yeah, honestly, it feels pretty balanced. I think I like it. Some cards might be a bit overtuned still, but I think they maybe hit Syndicate a bit too hard with the nerfs. But then again, it's kind of like, yeah, I think it's fine, but I would have liked to see Bounty be a bit more stronger, because basically now means that you have to play, at least in my opinion, you have to play Horsson Junior to get Bounty value as a leader, and other than that, Bounty kind of blows.
I don't feel like that. I think Bounty is still strong. It's still okay. It's like it's balanced. Like you can kill a unit, then you can put another bounty on it, and you can kill it again. But you can just not put multiple bounties at the same time. So that you can still like kill a lot of units by playing the bounty package.
See, but that's why I think it's problematic, because then if you want to do that, you consistently have to have a coin spender stay on board to kill off the bounty.
Sure.
So, and that's problematic with all the Ardles and whatnot going around. So yeah, like that's why I kind of said Horsson, because Horsson gives you the ability to bounty straight off as a leader.
Yeah, but personally, I think that we somewhat moved from Bounty being the must include package in every Syndicate deck to being one of the possible archetypes. So as you just said, now you need a proper engine, because let's be honest, a Witch Hunter Executioner or Ewald were not engines. You just placed them on the board and you basically wiped everything else off the face of the earth. That's not an engine.
It's not an engine.
That's more like, I'm not sure, guys, if you guys remember. Do you guys remember the broken Imperial Enforcers from beta, where you could just play all the spies and then play?
Oh yeah. They are
afterwards.
Like that.
Pew everything.
That's basically the same.
It was basically the same, and people were right to complain about that. I understand that this is what made the faction really strong, but now the cards like Executioner, Ewald are actual engines, and now there's also other. I think there's always been other viable ways to make Syndicate fun and playable. It's just people didn't choose for these options because, well, why would you play something else if you have the strongest archetype in Bounty?
Yeah.
So I think that now that Syndicate is back because the coin bug has been fixed. Bounty has been nerfed. I think that in a couple of days, probably after the tournament, we'll see a lot of viable Syndicate decks revolving around the various archetypes, not just Bounty.
Yeah, I think so too. And the people already started playing DJ again. Like apparently DJ is still a good leader, and people have also been playing Gudrun with Vinci, of course. So,
how long has Syndicate really actually been out? 1 season and
two
seasons and a week.
Has it been 2? Oh my god!
Yeah, because they first released it, and then we had the last patch when they added DJ, and now we have the current patch.
Right.
Yeah, I remember clearly.
There's still a lot of time for new decks to be come up with and everything. I don't think Bounty will be the only thing we see from Syndicate. So I think it's a bit early to judge harshly like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think Bounty is still viable, but now it's just an engine archetype. And there is also a lot of good cards in Syndicate. You can build different archetypes, different decks.
Yeah,
you don't have to play Bounty because that's the most efficient way of playing the faction.
Yeah, you can build a Shoop deck in Syndicate quite easy.
Here we go. Here we go.
I mean,
Gudrun Shoop.
Honestly, why would I can see the fun you're having with Gudrun Shoop and stuff, but honestly, I feel like Syndicate decks kind of rely on you not having one-offs. That's what I've experienced thus far. You know.
Yeah, obviously it's better to not play Shoop in the Syndicate faction, but it
like
is
when you already play a Syndicate Shoop deck, that means you're already cutting out the most value neutral cards because Syndicate doesn't really care about neutral cards, and that's already problematic a bit, especially when building a Shoop deck.
So the one problem I have with Syndicate, and it kind of transferred onto this patch as well, is all the leaders look kind of the same. Or maybe not all, but if you look at Gudrun, if you look at DJ, King of Beggars, they are very, very similar.
I think the only leader that is way different compared to the others is like Warzone and Hemmelfart.
Yeah, Horse and Hemmelfart, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleaver's pretty unique too.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
have you ever queued against Cleaver?
First time when Syndicate came out, yeah.
Yeah, like the first couple of days when people were like, okay, this new leader, he looks fancy, let's play him. Okay, let's not play him anymore.
I played a really bad Cleaver Scorch deck. That was pretty.
Oh
yeah, I played that shit too. That was so much fun. But that was so.
Fun for a couple days.
It was fun, but it was so bad.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
Yeah, this is how you activate Villa.
But Villa, you were also saying that like some cards feel overtuned. Which cards were you talking
about? I was mainly talking about cards like Call of the Forest. That shit's like Royal Decree on roids, and I think boosting, but boosting by one I think is acceptable. Boosting by 2, it's kind of like the same with last season list. I think they should do their boost dude on the one.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. By boost by 1, I can see that. I can see that.
On one hand, I understand why they made these kind of tutors stronger than Royal D. Because Royal D is a neutral.
Yeah, of course. It's and
the idea is to play cards from your own faction. Like we already had a neutral meta when Homecoming first came out, and nobody liked it. On one hand, I understand it, but then you have a couple of cards that just make things so strong. Though, if you look at what was the card called? Call of that's the one. Call of the Forest.
I mean, faction specific cards are what usually 1 to 2 or 3 value higher than neutral cards, aren't they?
And you can see that here because
insane.
Yeah. It's 10 provisions, same as Royal D, but it boosts by 2. And one thing that I kind of want to talk about is when we first saw the patch notes, everyone was like, oh my god, Shiro is gonna be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the cards in the first week of the patch.
I tried Shiro PTSD deck, but nah, it did not work out when I was testing it against the Villa. And I decided to not play it on the ladder as well. And I've been playing my Deadlift deck instead, and I've been just beating Ignis Shiro decks on the rank ladder. So yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it could be strong against Novigrad because Novigrad has a lot of 5-power units.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But that's kind of the only...
Yeah, but you have to remember that but on the other hand, many of those units were, for example, the Witchers that nobody's playing anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I still have seen some people play the Witch Trio, but it's kind of bad now.
Speaking of which, guys, Serit nerf. What do we think?
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same. They did the same nerf with Dona, right? They just want to nerf down control, like damage, to make sure some of the edges will be able to stay alive. But I'm always a huge fan of control. So I'm kind of sad about it.
Yeah. I think that also unnecessary, but I think if they wanted to nerf him, I believe nerfing maybe his power level by 1 would have been, in my opinion. But I don't know. 2 damage just doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah, because on one hand, I understand their motives here. They don't want to see a lot of removal bound to a body. But on the other hand, control is the theme of Novigrad. So if you strip Novigrad of control, the faction has absolutely nothing left.
Exactly. Like, what are you gonna do? Play a simulate?
We've already seen how it works. And I'm not the only one who tries it. I know that Trinet tried to play Syndicate a couple of patches ago, and Ace of Plays is doing that this patch. And I'm not sure how their adventures have been going, but my experience is pretty bad because it just requires you to play 4, maybe even 5 cards to basically set up your win con. And in that time, all those cards are gonna be either locked or removed. Wait, Discord froze?
What?
It's going on my end. I see Villa moving, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see. Villa, stop shitting on our podcast. Everything is going fine. Debated. Absolutely debated by Villa. Yeah, so when it comes to Assimilate, like the only card from the Assimilate package that is being played is Artorius, and mostly because people just play him to thin. It's one thing that I don't really understand is I don't think that it was intentional. I think that Artorius playing Impera Brigades is essentially accidental synergy. Because we got the tactic package, right?
Yeah, I think they
tried it, and they somehow forgot about Artorius.
Yeah, I think they tried to buff Assimilate, but instead they buffed Tactic.
Yeah, but how do you fix him? Like, I think one way to fix Artorius, because I'm not sure if you guys agree, Artorius should not be able to thin Impera.
No, I think it should be able to. Like since the release of Homecoming, we have been missing a lot of tutor cards, right? Where they kind of get rid of all the tutor cards, and there are some tutor cards, but they're like really trash. So I'm like actually happy that there is like a tutor card like Vigo that can thin your deck. Like thinning is very important since they also nerfed the Witchers, the Silver Witchers. To make your deck consistent, you need thinning, and that's why I don't have anything against Vigo being able.
Personally, I just think that he should be more of an Assimilate card than a thinning card.
Like, I mean, you have to build your deck specifically for him to work. Like, to make it consistent, you have to have only 3 bronze.
Yeah, but exactly. If you are playing tactics, you just play assassination, joust, and diplomacy,
and you're done. Diplomacy,
and you're done, and just 3 random units. Basically, scorpions, Impera Brigades, and
sergeants.
Yeah, sergeants.
Yeah.
Not break your portal.
I've always been a huge fan of tutors, so I gotta be on the side where I like it. I like
tutoring as well, but I don't like just tutoring being completely accidental. Because he works better as a tutor than as an Assimilate card.
Yeah, but so if you're gonna nerf it, you nerf the Assimilate tag, right?
No, if I was to nerf, I would basically I would keep tutoring for maybe a new card, and I would make Artorius being played on range, like deploy, ranged, play, create and play 1 power copy on the same row. Period. You cannot thin anymore. You can play Assimilate with him, yet you cannot thin anymore. And if you want more tutors, then yeah, probably we should just get more cards to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some logic in that, because then maybe the Assimilate archetype will be stronger if he just creates.
And he should be buffed actually.
A unit.
You should prevent him from thinning. Okay, thinning should be there, but just add a new card that does it. And make Artorius a proper Assimilate card. So maybe not a 1 power copy, maybe just a copy, or maybe a 2 or 3 power copy. Because if it's a 1 power copy, then it's basically 4 points for 8 provisions, and then they have to stick to get the engine value, which is very unlikely in this meta.
Mm-hmm.
So he should either be cheaper or stronger as an Assimilate card. And right now you cannot do it, because if you make him stronger, like if you give him 1 more power, or if you make the copy stronger, then yeah, you automatically make hyper thing stronger.
How
And
would you
that's not
feel
the point.
about how would you feel about like giving the Emperor Brigades a restriction? Like you can only summon one of the copies if you pull it with Artorias from deck.
Maybe just like Ceres.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like it'd be too specific, right?
Yeah, that might be.
I kind of like the card though. I don't want it to get rid, but if you then maybe make it similar like Ceres or Roche, Merciless, and give it more provisions.
Yeah, but here's the problem. If it was only summon, then it wouldn't work with Assimilate. Like, you wouldn't get a tick on Assimilate and Artorius. Because you have to play the card.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that by just giving him a row restriction, just, range, play, create and play on the same row, you basically exclude him from the cards that can play in Hyperthin and make him more of an Assimilate card. And then you just buff him, a couple of points here or there. Just make him
maybe
stronger.
make it 4 points. Yeah.
Guys, and what do you think about leaders being very, very specific? So you have to play the faction card.
I like that.
I think it was first introduced in Novigrad a couple of patches ago when Emir got changed to only replay Novigrad cards.
Yeah.
And now we have Francesca, Kalant is only an R.
I mean, I think it's a good direction. Like
The one thing that bugs me about that, is it makes Arena a little less fun.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's actually very true.
It's kind of sad for Arena. That's all.
Yeah. But I think it's good for like pro rank and like ranks. Like
of
it
course,
makes the most sense. It's also more lore friendly, I suppose. To play a card from your own faction and not a neutral card. But I think for Arena it definitely screws your game plan.
For the 5% of us, it's bad.
Yeah.
I haven't played Arena since beta, I think. Just
Wow.
not a huge fan of the mode. But I like the change. And it actually opens up more it gives us more space to experiment with.
At the end of last season.
What did you say, Villa? Villa? Can you repeat?
Villa.
Is his Discord still frozen?
Actually played Arena at the end of last season.
Okay. And how did you like it? Villa, you are on the podcast. Stop browsing shit.
He's like,
okay, moving on.
on.
Moving on. What I wanted to say is that when Fran was also replaying neutrals, people were just fixed on one option, like Ragnarok, and they just completely discarded the idea that there's so many Scoia'tael specials. And now that they are forced to play Scoia'tael specials, it gives us a lot of new decks. Okay, Villa is asking how delayed he is, and it seems like he's delayed 3 years, 45 days, and 4 hours.
He's missing. Villa is missing.
Okay, maybe we should not show attractive women on the stream. Let's move to Kalanth, because she's also restricted, right? But she's been restricted for a while now.
Yeah.
And speaking of Kalanth, how do you guys like Hyperthink Kalanth? I absolutely hate playing against it.
I've never seen it.
You definitely? So basically what they do is they play Portal, they play Caretaker, and they play...
Roach
That's it,
and
right?
Sword.
They don't play Ablak, right? To replay Portal. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't think that's in most
Two
of the
portals
decks.
seems like
two portals, and you tend to 0 with the deck.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically the idea is what PG just said. You play Portal, you play Portal round 2. They often smork. It's a perfect 2-0 deck. And then you play Vernon Roach, and you ping him with, for example, Arbalest, and then you play Handgate Sword, and you play Roach again. Yeah, the problem is if Villa leaves right now, then it will completely ruin the podcast because his cam will just the cams will just move all over the place.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's test it. I know it's probably annoying for our viewers, but let's test it. Villa, how are you doing? And now we're gonna see
Hold on,
how the lady is.
I mean, it'll take them 2 minutes to hear us, but yeah.
How delayed am I?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Wow.
Fuck me.
Okay, it's only a
I could
couple
go
of
to
seconds.
the toilet in between, man.
Yeah, there should be like when you call a company and they put you on hold, there's like some nice music. We should have it here, just in case Villa is delayed. So I ask a question, or you guys ask a question, then we play the music, and then Villa says, "Okay, I heard you."
But yeah, about the Calante deck, I think it was originally made to 2-0 DJ last season because it was relatively easy to 2-0 DJ, but now people are still playing it.
Yeah, because it's a strong deck, and even if you are playing Ardo, which is just full on control, you have a hard time getting rid of all the engines. And Ardo lacks tempo.
Yeah, I mean, Ardo has tempo round 1 with the Vigo. I mean, usually you don't want to play Portal round 1. They can if they want to. But yeah, that's a lot of tempo as well. But they lack tempo, like.
Yeah, because it all comes down to Portal, I think. The fact that it's an artifact that you cannot do anything about.
Yeah, you basically summon two. What is it? Summon? Yeah, summon two engines. Or you summon 2 engines, and usually you can get 1 engine, and then the other one sticks, and then they play another engine, for example. And then they always have the advantage with having multiple engines. Except if you play like a wall, for example, you have the coins, you can kill both of them. It's basically only Syndicate. I think only Syndicate killed 2 engines with 1 card in 1 turn.
Yeah. I mean, you can technically do it the way I did it yesterday, so you play Operator to copy your engine, and then you play Ardo to snatch it. But then you have to play your leader as well. And that's why I think Porto is an amazing card, but it's also a very problematic card. Because normally if you play an artifact, it's a high risk, high reward play. Because you never know if your opponent is going to have a counter. But you cannot counter Portal. Like, there is nothing you can do about it. Your opponent just plays it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like to over nerf it because I really like the design. But if you give it order, maybe is it gonna be too strong?
You can react to it then. Artifact removal makes sense in that case. I mean, maybe that could be.
Yeah, because I like the ability. Okay, you are thinning, but right now it's basically the new Witcher trio at lower provision cost, right? Because you get.
You mean the Silver Witchers? Yeah.
Yeah, normally you get 8 points for 20 provisions, and you have 2 engines, so you're always gonna get some ticks because it's very hard to remove 2 engines at once.
Okay, so Trident says just think of it as a spell, making it super binary.
Yeah,
that's how I think of it too. I don't even think of it as an artifact, to be honest. To me, it's just a nice tutor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like Portal.
Yeah, I like Portal, but
some people are complaining because there are so many 4 provision cards with 4 base power that you can play now.
Yeah.
I mean, barely anyone was playing Portal before. Like, sometimes you saw it in some decks.
Yeah, but Portal was also high provision cost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, okay, it was a little bit. I think 13 provision.
Yeah, but so that's 1 less provision on Portal plus on average 2 less provisions.
Plus,
the
there were
engines.
no 4 provision bronzes that were
Yeah.
that strong to play Portal with. You had a couple decks. There was that one period where there was like Aradin Portal with like Necker Warriors. But
Yeah.
like not every faction was able to play Portal. But now every faction Portal if they want to.
To be honest, I think most decks are actually playing Portal right now, unless they have a better option to thin. Yeah, for example, unless you could play, for example, Waters, then you don't really need Portal.
Yeah, and I think partially the reason why you see Hypertin and G Hypertin is because of.
So it's not really thinning, but the effect is absolutely the same. You get 2 engines as for 11 provisions. So it's cheaper than Portal, it cannot break.
Yeah.
And it can be replayed with Fran.
Yeah.
Basically what makes Fran what it is. But okay, we're gonna talk about Fran a little bit more in a moment. But speaking of Portal, the ultimate machine gun of Gwent. What do you think about this interaction? Vran and Portal.
Well, it's quite strong if they stick on the board. For example, if you have Caltulus on your side of the board and you destroy like your drone, they just go ham, right? They're just like machine gun, unstoppable machine gun. It's quite hard to deal with if you don't have the removal.
Yeah, like two Vrans at the same time.
Yeah.
Because, once again, people say, okay, it's an engine, but you can consume multiple units in the same turn. Right? It's not really, like, you can set everything up, then play Vran, then consume. It's not like you have to open with Vran to get the value over time. Because if you look at normal engines, you just get, a little bit of value every single turn, because you have to play a card of the same type, or card with orders. There is some sort of condition. But Vran, you just set everything up, you play Vran, and if it doesn't get removed in the same turn, your opponent is going to consume multiple units, and then it's a gazillion points.
Yeah.
And I think
I love stuff like that. I don't know. I love crazy combos like that, so I can't really complain about it. To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't complain about it as well. It can be devastating for you or the opponent.
Yeah, one thing that's bothering me is, why is Villa muted?
Is Villa talking? I don't know if he's talking.
No, he's just sitting here. I think he can hear us, but he's muted. And I would love to hear his opinion, because...
Oh yeah, I can hear you, but it's just that I'm so fucking delayed, like...
you could say that you are delayed without the F word. But you're only delayed a second or two. It's not really that bad. And I really wanted to hear your opinion on Vran and Portal.
Yeah, but it feels... it just feels weird if I just jump over you guys, but... Oh well.
No, it's okay. Like,
I guess I can go.
We ask a question, you answer, then we go on after you're done. And you are a competitive player. You probably see more Portal and Portal combos than we do. What do you think about Portal being, this prevalent in Gwent? And what do you think about combos like Vran and Portal?
I mean, honestly, I don't mind Portal being the god that it is. I think it's actually. Yeah, it's quite a good card that, allows you to be have, 4 provision cards that don't have deploy abilities and makes them actually good. So yeah, honestly, I don't see any problems with said card. Actually really like it. It's unique for sure.
Okay. Our guest said, I've had enough. I've had enough. He went on to craft Portal.
BeeBoBoop, he left. He's like, fuck this, I'm out.
The first guest-less podcast.
Yeah, fuck.
Nice chair, by the way. I like the zebra theme. It's really nice.
It's very well thought.
And the plushies in the background. Very, very comfy.
Mm-hmm,
and of course the Pepe on the right side of his desk. It's a massive accessory. I saw him. I saw. Yeah, there he is. There he is.
Well, Trinet should be on the podcast next sometime.
He definitely will be on the podcast. I don't want to spoil things, but Trinet is on the same team as we are, and he is an amazing streamer. So asking him is a very good idea. Except I'll feel just so much dumber with Trinet around because he's a Gwent genius, and I'm just I'm just a low key memer.
I mean, you don't have to be like the best player in the world or something to cast a podcast, right?
Yeah, I think the idea is to have a different guest and discuss different aspects of the game. Like right now we have two guys who are basically memeing all the time, and that's me and Bebo, and we have two guys who are more or less competitive. So I think that's a good balance.
Yeah. Sorry, by the way, our clothes dryer was about to go off and it was going to be really loud. I had to run and shut it off really quick. My bad.
No
Sorry.
worries, man.
Yeah, and I was actually wondering, Bebo, because you said that you enjoyed the patch. You said that you ranked up a lot in the last couple of days. Are you playing like more or less competitive now, or you are still trying to meme? Because you said in the beginning that you are still a memer. And how do you think this patch affects this kind of gameplay?
Well, what I've been doing is I have been trying to rank up a bit. Of course, I had fallen, like I said, but I've actually been playing. I think it's this way. I've been playing the Detlef deck, the big boy one. That's what I've been doing good with. As far as memes go, I guess I haven't been doing like as many like weird things this season, to be honest.
Compared to last season?
Yeah, compared to last season, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
This season has been, for me, I've been doing Detlef, and then I actually, before this podcast, I was like, you know what, I should probably figure out some of these meta decks so I know what I'm talking about a little bit. So I was like trying to like play Hyper Thin and Francesca and all of that before this, but yeah.
He went to the dark side.
Yeah.
I went to the dark side just so that I would know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, Bebo. I expected you to be on my side still.
I am. I just feel a little less stupid now.
Deep down in his heart, he will always be a memer.
Yeah, deep down. It's in your soul.
Yeah.
You can take you can take somebody out of memes, but you can't take memes out of him.
I mean, it's something that I'll do. I'll play like these meta, these tier 1 decks, and I'll always add some weird flavor to it that, people will complain about and be like, Bebo, this is horrible. Why are you doing that? But it's just what I love to do. Kind of like the best example would be Beta Gwent. I was like a big Greatsword player towards the end, but I would play Greatsword with Adrenaline Rush to carry over. So I do things like that. It's just what I find fun, and I kind of am trying to do that now still.
You also used to play a lot of Candy, right?
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask. The state of Canby. Bebo.
Don't do that to me. I mean, Canby's discard, and seriously, when's the last time you've played against discard? I don't know. It's like, it's just kind of sad. He's just not. It's underwhelming. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's one thing that I really want to talk about with you as in, let's say, non-competitive player. Because, of course, we discussed Fran, we discussed a little bit of Hyperthin with Porta, we discussed a little bit of Kalanth, Syndicate. But what about non-meta decks? Like, do they still have a place in Gwen? Can you still have fun with them? Can you still have a decent win rate with them?
I mean, of course, you might not have the best win rate, but it's the way that ladder works now, not pro ladder, of course, but normal ladder is you can't rank down, right? So you can play these decks, and you're not hurting yourself by doing it so much.
Yeah.
And ever since that change, you can kind of still meme around. Of course, one thing that has been affecting me is I feel like every patch, I don't know. I feel like every patch, there's always something that gets nerfed and it just ruins I don't know how to word it, the meme potential of the game. You can't experiment as much. It kind of feels like to me sometimes.
Actually, the meme potential is something that I discussed a lot when Homecoming first dropped, because I felt like, okay, in beta, especially towards the end, you could just do absolutely anything. Some of the interactions were completely crazy. And I think BJ remembers my slave driver deck, and it was just so much fun to play. And I still think that's probably one of my most watched clips is just playing Emir with slave drivers against greatswords. And it was absolutely amazing. And then when Homecoming first dropped, I felt like you can't really meme it right now because a lot of cards are doing the same thing. Like, the potential is gone, but now we moved on, and I see more and more synergies. So I was actually thinking, like, since I'm playing one faction, so I'm basically know what I can and cannot do within my own faction. But you guys are playing other factions as well, and like, I really wanted to hear your opinion on the meme potential of this patch.
On me?
Yeah.
All of you.
BJ.
All of you.
Like, what is considered a meme in home, right? Spies? Assimilate?
Spies is
Those
so
are
sad.
supposed to be
Spies
archetypes.
is so sad. Yeah, I think we should just give a shout out to Mo for playing Spies last season and getting to rank 0 with it. Molspruce. I played.
Oh yeah, Molspruce. Yeah.
I played playing Spies with Morvran.
Impressive. I mean, a meme in Homecoming, what is that? It's just a bad deck, right? Like, it's sad. It's true, but I don't know. I'll admit it right there. A meme in Homecoming is just a bad deck. It's like you can make memes in beta and stuff that would actually work, but if it's not a card everyone plays right now, not a great card, it's not gonna. I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same, I guess.
Yeah, I think an example of a great meme card is Vache. Because it's in 9 out of 10 games, it's gonna get removed. You know it. Because there is not really a way to prevent it. Because it requires 2 turns. It requires you to play him and then play a card that locks.
Yeah, exactly. And if you compare it to a card like Philippa, this never sees any play. It's just
So, but this is exactly a meme card. 9 out of 10 times it's not gonna work. I don't
but
even the 10th time
seeing
it is gonna work, and it's gonna be a clip people are gonna keep watching for ages.
Yeah, there was this one guy, Deuce, and he actually made a with this card, and he stole like I don't know, like a 35-point Glice or something with Pache, because he was using Paris filter, and it's crazy combo, and like really amazing to watch. That's just where it happens like 1 out of 10 times, I believe.
Yeah, but that's the idea behind memes. Like, if it works too often, then it's not a meme. Then it's a competitive card.
Wait, what did you say, Weissenberg?
Yeah, I said that if a card is too not repetitive, if a card is too consistent, like if you can pull a meme combo most of the time, then it's not a meme anymore. Then it's a competitive card that can be played in a competitive environment.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, and speaking of competitive environment, the Challenger is coming, and I think the man who can talk the most about it is our silent companion, Villa. Yeah, he's compared to you, Bibo. He's actually
okay.
on the podcast. Yeah, Villa.
I can talk about Challenger. Just as long as you don't mind the delay here. So yeah. Well, what do you want to hear about Challenger?
What's your take on
what's the thing that you are most
potential
interested
deck
about?
lists? Because I think the rules are still the same, right? Like, you can still just bring 4 decks to the tournament, and you have the right to ban 1. in the matchup, right? The rules are still the same. So what kind of decks can we expect from the challenger? In your
Yeah,
opinion?
the rules are still the same. Yep.
Yeah, he's delayed. It's okay. It's okay, guys.
It's okay.
Like most of the time, I think he just pretends not to hear us.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
Trolling us hard right now.
Yeah,
And now our pre-recorded video. Go.
Yeah, and yeah, to all our viewers, it's tech issues happen. It's our first podcast. We'll try to get everything going next time. But yeah, Villa, you can hear us. Stop pretending you are delayed. Your take on potential decks that will be played during the tournament.
I mean, I think Syndicate's gonna be there always. I think Scoia'tael and Francesca are gonna always, Anna also probably is gonna exist. I mean, the faction that I actually think, I think all the factions are gonna be brought. Mostly, I mean, there might be some factions, of course, that are weaker, but you have to remember in a tournament setting, pretty much anything can go by, I think. And yeah, I think we're actually gonna see a lot of variation. I don't think there's like a so-called tournament meta anymore, like there was in the open beta, where you basically brought decks that worked well on the ladder and then just switched around some cards. So yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of variations of decks, and I think actually the one who's gonna bring the most unique lineup is gonna be the one who wins it, I think.
Yeah, well said. BJ, you're also a competitive player, and your goal is always to be top 500, top 200.
Yeah, at least top 500, sometimes top.
See, so yeah, what do you think can we expect from the tournament?
What we can expect? I mean, I think we can expect Freddy Babes to bring like a really creative lineup, like as he always has been doing in the past. I think other competitors like Etsikov or like Colomon or Tilbot will also have a chance to, take the trophy. But don't underestimate Magpie. I think Magpie, he's one of the underdogs of the challenger.
He's a newcomer, right?
Yeah, he's a newcomer, and he beat Insomnia in the qualifier. And Insomnia is a great deck builder, great player. Yeah, if you can beat Insomnia, then sure, you can maybe have a chance to win from the other guys too. So yeah, but I expect a lot of decks like Franny, AK, Meave, Hypertin, probably Ardle,
Maybe we could break it down per faction.
Yeah, maybe we could do that.
Yeah, NR. What can we expect from NR? I would go Meave.
Yeah, Meave. Some people have been playing for nerfs.
Hansel.
I mean, Hansel is underestimated, I feel like.
I'm serious. I'm thinking Hansel.
Hansel can be a deck that everyone is going to surprise in the challenger.
But yeah, people, can you elaborate on that? Why Hansel?
I just personally like him. I don't know. I'm not a very competitive player. I don't know how to explain these things. I've been seeing him sometimes. I've been having good luck with him myself. But of course, I'm not on Pro Ladder. I'm not in top 100. That's just my guess.
Yeah, but you don't have to be there to discuss things that can potentially be brought to the tournament. Because there's always the surprise element. Like, do you guys remember when Super JJ basically brought Necker counters with him? And things just, I think it was Muzzle and Mandrake to just get rid of the old Neckers, and his opponent couldn't do anything because his deck was revolving around Neckers. So the only option left was to forfeit. And another example was that Elven combo. It was in one of the last tournaments in beta. I don't remember exactly, but it was something with stealing elves from your opponent's side as well.
Oh, great! Was it not just create or something? Like you create a card from your opponent, and it mostly were like matches. These cards mirror matches, and then you were creating like no. I was creating a bronze card for faction.
You are breaking off, BJ. And
Oh.
can you please talk more to your microphone?
So I think what you were mentioning was that in Squirtle you had these create cards, so which always got, for example, the Half Elf Hunter and some other cards. I don't remember clearly, but I definitely think that that's what you were talking about.
No, it was something about hitting your own unit. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but it was very interesting. And the idea is the surprise element, because okay, NR Meave is the obvious choice. Bebo says maybe Henselt. Henselt could be a surprise card. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, by bringing Henselt, you bring a deck that nobody expects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the surprise factor can definitely help in tournaments. Maybe Villa can talk a bit, because he definitely plays a lot of tournaments as of late, and you prepare very differently to tournaments than ladder. Like you bring cards that are good against certain decks that can counter them, like you call them tags. Yeah, maybe Villa can.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man. Villa, you are playing very competitively. I said that multiple times already. How often do you see surprise decks?
Surprise decks I actually see. I mean, full-on surprise decks. I don't think I see that often, but there certainly are some interesting choices made with cards like BJ's decks. Like, people tend to bring decks that are still good on ladder, but switch out the cards that they think don't have an effect on the tournament per se, and then they just switch it out for something to take into some other deck that they expect to make it to the tournament, so they have a better matchup against that deck. And it's actually quite interesting how you prepare for this kind of thing, because then you basically have to set your mind to certain decks that you expect to make it. Of course, I always think about the top ladder decks, and I tend to put cards that, for example, last season, I obviously expect a lot of Foltest, a lot of Dijkstra. So I started to cut out cards that I think were maybe even a bit too let's say proactive, and I just started going heavy control, because you're not gonna beat Foltest or Dijkstra with control. I also put cards that allowed me to push, especially against Summoning Circle Dijkstra. So cards like Novigrad and Justice help with that. It's solid thinning, solid tempo. So cards like this, and of course, when you play in a tournament, you tend to run cards that are, of course, more control-y than the normal cards.
Yeah, to follow up on what Villa just said, what do you think is gonna be a tournament-defining deck? I think it's gonna be Fran. Just move on towards the Squirtle territory, because we said most likely Meave. There's always a surprise aspect with Henselt, maybe Foltest. But okay, moving on to the Squirtle, it's gonna be Fran. Like, I don't think anyone is gonna play anything else than Fran. So that's gonna be very tournament-defining. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think...
Is everyone gonna bring Fran to the tournament, or is somebody gonna say, I'm gonna go a different route?
I mean, according to Pumpkin, Dana is better than Franny, but yeah. I think Franny will definitely be brought by a lot of people that are playing in the tournament. Yeah, I think it's definitely Fran. No doubt about that. But then there's also the question, like, which version, right? You have Harmony, but you also have Dwarves. But in general, the Harmony version is way better to other in other matchups. But the Dwarf version, it can definitely win from the Harmony version. That's what I heard.
Okay, Bebo, your experience with Fran, and how well can it fare in a tournament environment?
I mean, it's obvious Fran is strong. Everyone thinks she's strong. I But like you were saying, like BJ was saying, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dana as. I've been seeing a lot of Dana, almost more than Fran. They're both insanely strong. I honestly can't pick. I don't know which one of those that we're gonna see. I wouldn't be shocked though to see more Dana. Part of me hopes to see Eldain, but I know it won't happen. But I can dream.
Eldain. But
I can. Hey, I can dream. All right.
let's think about it for a moment, because Eldain is essentially a control deck with a good finisher. But is it enough to produce enough tempo round 1 and round 2? Because let's be honest, if you win against Eldain round 1 and you push it round 2, it's gone. You are winning this anyway.
Yeah. But if you win round 1, especially say you're against Hyperthin or even against Franny, you have what do you call it? Pitfall or Serpent Trap. You know, that can be a game changer. Of course, again, I'm just dreaming. I don't actually expect it, but it'd be cool to see.
You were not just dreaming, because roll stacking is a thing now. Like we said Meave and we said Dana or Fran. That means roll stacking, because Meave just wants engines to generate value every single turn, and Dana/Fran want to set up Oak. So roll stacking, so you can potentially bring some traps to the tournament and cards like Lacerate to just punish that.
Yeah, but the version that Pumpkin was playing was without Oak. So if you don't bring Oak, then they won't be row stacking that much, and then Lacerate is not going to be a lot of value. But in most cases they play Franny, so they are going to anyway, and Lacerate is a pretty good tag card.
I mean, even with Franny, Crushing Trap.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I was just gonna say Crushing Trap. If we're talking Squirtle, I feel like I prefer that to Lacerate. But yeah,
it's one provision less. There's not that much artifact removal on the ladder, but perhaps people will bring it to the tournament, right? It can be very true.
Yennefer's Invocation.
Wow, this got weird.
just whispering the card that everyone knows is going to be played.
Is this a ASMR stream?
It can be. So yeah, speaking of artifact removal, moving on to Novigrad and the overall removal. As a Novgardian, I have no idea what would be viable in a tournament environment, because Hyperthin, there's a lot of counters. Toll removal, anything that somehow messes up with your deck.
I mean, Karate Heatwave has been seen on the ladder, which is pretty good against Hyperthin. You can play Geralt Professional, for example, to kill the what's the guy called? The guy that reveals cards from her deck.
Xavier?
No, Zartesius.
Zartesius, yes.
Oh, sorry. Fuck, yeah.
So Zartesius on like a T-board, for example, is like 18 points. So then you can easily kill Geralt Professional. I think it's a risky deck. Like it either pays off or
And also you can just push round 2, make them play Zartesius and the Yennefer.
Yeah, but if you have Toll removal, you don't have to push round.
Yeah, that's true.
You can just be like, okay, let's go into a long route. I will beat you.
And it's actually interesting how Toll removal just started to be more neutrals and spell cards. Like Karate Heatwave, like nobody played that last season.
Yeah, nobody did. But it got buffed by a couple proficients. I think 2 proficients. I don't remember clearly what it was. And right now it's like 10 proficients. The thing is with Karate Heatwave, it's like it does not always find value for 10 proficients that you pay for it. Sometimes you kill an engine which is like 5 base strength, for example. Yeah, in most cases you don't get insane value between leaving the card alone as of late. But it can definitely be a good card.
Yeah, I think one of the cards that you can leave alone is Oriana. She's just getting value, and you can just remove her at the end.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that, for example. But you can also tag in like a Dragoon, any card that can move a unit.
Yeah. Like speaking of that kind of removal falls Siri. I'm not sure if she's worth it at 7 provisions, but she removes an artifact and she can move something to the other
Yeah,
row.
I think she's definitely worth it. I mean, if people are bringing AQ, they won't bring a Rihanna, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe some people bring that love. And there are other cards like AWOLD that is like has a row restriction. So I think False Fury is definitely a card to put in your deck. But that if you play Hyperton, you don't have to for it, right? So you will probably see more control-y NG decks with False Fury.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Hyperthin is played quite often, but it's not going to make it to the tournament. Like, the risk is just too high. Like, you can afford losing some games on the ladder, but you cannot afford losing games during the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's too risky to bring.
So what options does it leave for Novigrad? Usurper and Ardo?
I mean, normal Ardell tactics, honestly, is still really good, I think, so.
But yeah, and it's probably the only deck that can deny you Portal. Because there's gonna be out of Portal, and plus we have Waters, so 2 engines in the same round, and Ardo is the only deck that can get rid of both during the same turn.
Yeah, I think Ardo probably. I think Villa has been playing by Tube. Maybe not this season, but maybe that's still good.
Yeah, good question. Good question, Villa. Usurper Shoop. What do you think?
Shoop
or Calvite Shoop. Usurper Shoop or Calvite Shoop.
It's gonna be played during the tournament. Villa, your take.
I mean, Usurper Shoop, I think the deck was fine like a couple of seasons ago. It definitely worked, but now that Fall Test is a lot less played, I think I honestly probably go for Galvit myself. Because I think the extra provisions and Galvit's leader ability give you the certain flexibility, so you can go for a push if you really need to push. Because if you play Usurper, it's kind of like, yeah, you take away the leader ability, but then you really, really are like banking on the fact that you queue into a good matchup. Because if you don't get a strong enough leader ability locked, then the deck is probably gonna lose anyway. So I think Galvit's way better. Galvit also gives you a bit more, like I said, flexibility and control options. You can play cards like Azir, so you can go even for double muscle in a Galvit Shoop deck, which is insane. So yeah, if I had to pick one for a tournament, I think I'd still lean a bit more towards young Galvit, just because I don't think there's gonna be enough value to be had on Usurper's leader ability alone.
Yeah, and Kalupama also makes a fair point. He's saying like Usurper 2 seasons ago, now we have more point slam engine and more strong engine decks, so for Usurper Shoop to be played. Yeah, that's true. Like engines will just outvalue Usurpers.
Yeah, and that's actually the problem with Ardo as well, because Ardo controls everything, but it doesn't generate enough points on its own.
Yeah. I mean, if you play Portal with Sargent, maybe can be.
Yeah, that's a power play, that's tempo play, but
yeah,
how many of those plays are you gonna get? Meno into muzzle maybe. That's 12 points.
Yeah, and they can be easily removed as well.
And but something I've seen.
What were you gonna say, Bebo?
Yeah, Bebo.
I was just gonna say I honestly do expect Hyperthin though at Challenger. I still expect it to be there for NG.
And why is that?
It's risky, but it's just simply plain and simple one of the strongest decks in the game if it works.
Yeah, it's consistent and it's like a lot of. I can see your. If people are starting to tag Talrim, which,
actually you can still play Ardo with Hyperthin, so you can get both point spam.
There's just so many options for Hyperthin. Yeah, I truly don't see us not seeing it.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, I know that I said that Hyperthin is not going to make it probably because of total removal, but on the other hand, if you play Ardo and you get some control, you get the tactic package, you have enough control and you have some point spam.
And you know what? Yeah, people will bring tall removal, but what is Hyperthin's? You know, their bombs at the end. What you get 3 cards that are what 15 plus or some 13 plus. Can you really remove all of them? Like even with tall removal, you can still win games. I don't know. It's just such a strong deck. I truly see it being there. But
Yeah, that's you're making some good points here. Like, I don't really know. I think that the risk factor might scare people off and just make them not play Hyperthin. But on the other hand, if you just play Hyperthin with a little bit of control, like people do with Ardo, you can be fine for the most part. And now we kind of have to talk about the card, Yennefer's Invocation, because the one thing that was breaking Hyperthin was overthinning. Like if you committed too much of resources early on and you just didn't have enough cards to draw round 3. But now with Yennefer, like you can easily play around it. So what's your take? Like Hyperthin plus Yennefer's Invocation? And it also serves as stall removal. It's only 9 provisions, and you can just remove absolutely anything.
Mm-hmm. But would you play Ardell then?
Then you wouldn't play Ardo, obviously, because you want to replay the card that you just put on top of your deck. Unless you play her round 2, for instance, and then you draw the card anyway. But I don't think that would be very common.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But even Calvite has enough control, because even as Calvite, you still have double Joust. You probably have
that's pretty
Assassination.
Good yeah, it's pretty good.
Like since
I want to know what our silent friend thinks about Hyperthin.
He hasn't said much about it.
Yeah.
He hasn't said much in general.
Okay. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Ville, your thoughts on Hyperthin in a tournament?
My thoughts on Hyperthin at tournament. I think, yeah, like BeeBo said, we are gonna see at least like I think I'd say maybe 2-3 Hyperthin decks making it, because let's be honest, if you're bringing Nilfgaard, the first deck you probably consider is Hyperthin, since it is the most strong one right now, especially with cards like Invocation being reworked, and it works super well with Galvit Hyperthin. And yeah, honestly, there might be some other Nilfgaard decks, but if I had to put my money on one that we're gonna see, it's definitely Hyperthin.
And what about the inclusion of cards like Damien and Stefan? Because I've seen them around. Still not worth it?
Nah.
High provision costs, super high risk, high reward, right?
Yeah. It's too memey, man.
And you can probably take them anyway. Like you won't have the space. But I was just going to bring it up because I've seen them around, and once again the surprise element, like the Damien nobody expects. So yeah, I think that's about Novigrad. Monsters, guys, monsters.
Monsters. Man.
AQ or BJ's Deadlaugh?
Oh, that is tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with BeeBo because obviously BJ is gonna be not very objective on this. But BeeBo has a lot of experience with Deadlaugh. He played a lot of this. Go on, man.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm super biased because I've been playing Deadlaugh. So like, I want to say Deadlaugh, but I don't know. I truly don't know the answer. I don't know what we'll see for monsters, honestly. I really don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like, monsters is... I expect to see both, honestly. I expect to see AQ and LF. But
yeah, I actually have to eat the crow here, because when they first announced vampire changes, I was like, nah, you just bleed them round 2, you deny them all the bleeds round 3, easy game, you won. But now they attack all the big boys as well, so even in the short run, they are pretty strong.
Yeah. For example, in the Deadlaugh deck, you have the big boy.
Yeah.
And in AQ, you have Kelly. You have
Frightener, K-Ran.
Frightener, K-Ran, Deadlaugh, High Vampire. You have Glusty with leader,
Hmm.
for example.
I mean, AQ is obviously a lot easier to bleed, though I'd say, than Detlef is.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, Deadlock is kind of hard to bleed because of the big boy. The big boys kind of make them like get up in points. AQ needs a lot of setup, I feel like. Needs to play
Yeah,
unit
AQ definitely is
consume.
like, I would say, the more powerful deck if it
Yeah,
works, right?
yeah,
That seems more
yeah.
consistent to me.
Yeah. But I think I do think that people bring AQ more often than that because it is just so strong in a long round or just when you make these big tempo swings. Of course, they are all pro players, they all know how to play against AQ. I'm really curious to see how to end up being played out. But yeah, there will probably a couple of people that bring that off.
Yeah.
Okay, Silent Partner, your thoughts on monsters and the Challenger. Like, we somehow agree either AQ or Detlef, depending on your own preference and what you are expecting. But yeah, your take, man. The honorable gentleman has the floor.
Honestly, I think we're gonna see a lot more AQ. Like, of course, you know, like probably in a tournament where people at least I think the most of the competitors expect AQ to be the monster deck to go with. I think there's gonna be maybe some decked artifact removal in the decks, but then I still believe that AQ has a higher ceiling than Detlef, and like cards like Oriana, for example, that you do play in Detlef, easily, very, very risky cards in a tournament. So I honestly think AQ, just because of the low unit factor and low unit factor, and also the units themselves are really, really small, and then you can just finish the game with Vax and Glusty. I think AQ is gonna be probably a deck that we are gonna see more. Of course, I wouldn't rule Detlef necessarily out, but yeah, I think that AQ is gonna win it for sure if people debate about these two leaders.
Wait, and do you think that AQ will have Caltulis or not? I see a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah. Lots of people have been mentioning. Villa.
Kelly or not Kelly?
Well, I think Keltolis is super risky in a tournament, but why not? I don't see necessarily a downside to running the card, but yeah. Honestly, if I was bringing a tournament AQ deck, I'd probably leave it out, just because it's very easily counterable 11 provision card. Of course, it does have a 9 body, but when you're playing AQ, you really don't like to have high bodies anyway.
Yeah, good points, man. Good points. What factions do we have left? Skellige and
Skellige, yes. Skellige and Syndicate, that's true.
Skellige. I think the atrocity of a 3D model is gonna be there. Svalbard.
The blob.
Though I've seen a lot of Iced Ice Baby.
Iced Ice Baby, man! It's trash.
But I've seen it.
Oh.
I know it's trash. I've seen it.
I've tried it so much.
I mean, you guys can quote me right now. Queensguard Canby is going to win Challenger, obviously. No doubt about it. So.
I mean, in some cases, like in, hypothetically, just imagine Canby against Hyperthin.
Right?
when they want to use that Vilgeforce to pull their big boy Tibor, and you just can't be it. We know it's not going to happen, but no, hypothetically. I think Svalbard.
I mean, Svalbard is very consistent, right?
Yeah. And the engines, man. Oh, the priest and the protector.
The veterans.
Yeah.
Don't forget the veterans, man.
I mean,
the reset.
Veteran is just great sword and longship, right?
Yeah,
all over again.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. And then you have the Tilling, which with the Shield Maidens from Ceres, which make the decks also consistent.
Yeah, and the skulls as well. It's like that's one of the feelings that I really hate when I'm playing a proactive deck and I can't do anything about the skulls. Like you see, okay, there's 3 skulls and there's like the protector at the end or something, and they place priest on the left, and you just see it happening. Like, and then there is one of the veterans in the middle or something just ping it, and you can't do anything about it. It's just ping, 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 points, 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 points.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
I mean, Svalbard has a lot of cards that support the league. And, Bran doesn't see any more play, even though it's very consistent with the discard package, although the discard package just got hard enough, so it's seeing any more play.
I'm just happy the crack is gone.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Like, I don't mind his ability, I don't mind, the deck that was being played with him. You know what I did mind? Every single turn. All those sounds that he makes, like, that was so frustrating. Like, stop. Can I mute it, please? Like, old man grunting. I don't want to hear it.
How do you feel with Franny's ma, then?
If I'm playing against Franny, I'm focused on other parts of her model than just the sounds. It's part of her ability. Distract your opponent for 5 seconds.
The truth comes out.
The truth.
Like we all like Fran.
That's why nobody's complaining about Fran being a tier 1 deck. I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to Skellige, we think Svalbard. But Villa, the man of the North, Cold North, what do you think about Svalbard and Skellige in general? It's your neck of the woods. Like, you are very close. Let your Viking blood speak.
I mean, I think Skellige is actually probably one of the better 3 factions in the game right now, and I think that the Svalbard list that people have been running is probably gonna see a lot of play also in the tournament. But I wouldn't rule Iced out. Iced has a very strong leader ability, and you can do something like Summoning Circle, Greatsword, and Leader, for example.
Yeah, with
Heimdall, and that's already like super strong.
Yeah, that's
so yeah,
true.
I think we're gonna see Skellige in every single lineup, honestly, and I think it's gonna be always between Iced and Svalbard. I don't think I see any other Skellige leader making it when these two have such a high ceiling already.
So, but do you think that Ice is more world bleeding compared to Swab?
Yeah, you kind of cut off there, BJ. So
I mean, I mean, the thing about bleeding Skellige in general is that Skellige has very strong bronzes, so bleeding them might not necessarily be always worth it. Of course, if you see a strong leader like Iced, like Harold, of course you generally want to push because you want to get, of course, the leader ability out. But honestly, I do believe that even if you bleed Skellige, they're usually fine because the bronze cards are so good that they basically are allowed to do pretty much anything they want, I think, when you bleed them, just because the bronze cards are that strong.
Yeah.
Skellige.
And it's a snowball effect as well. Like, even with a couple cards, they can generate a lot of points. But yeah, the last faction, guys, Syndicate. We've seen it a lot last patch. We've seen it also a lot the patch before that when it dropped, when it was added to the game. But now, after the coin bug, are we actually gonna see Syndicate on the tournament? Because you don't have to play all the factions, right? 4 out of 6.
Yeah, just 4.
So, Syndicate. Like, I have no idea what would you even play as Syndicate. I think a lot of people are just still trying to figure it out.
Nah, I think you will definitely see Syndicate, and I've already mentioned before, like, people are still playing like DJ Crime decks. You have Gudrun with Bincy, the bounty package that will see play. I think one of the two will definitely be seen in the tournament because it's still quite strong.
Yeah, personally, if I had to bank on it, like, then yeah, Gudrun probably. But I don't know. Like it's really hard to say considering that Skellig was basically non-existent until yesterday. Syndicate, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense, right? You don't want to put your calculator out of your desk and
You
then
can't bring a calculator to a tournament.
Oh, it's not allowed.
Bebo, Syndicate.
If I had to guess, I'd say Swarm.
Ooh, interesting.
Just a straight up guess.
So Hamilfard, right? With Swarm.
Yeah. I personally don't play Syndicate that much, but that's from what I've seen. That's what I've seen. That's what I've come up against, and it seems strong. It doesn't seem like it got hit as hard as DJ did. So
to be honest, it's pretty damn hard to counter. Like Gudrun, you just have reset auto removal and it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but
or like
Hamilfard.
movement. Hamilfard, I mean, we all know what happened to Gimpy Girl with the Golem.
Yeah.
So
and good thing that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, you can try to win round 1 and then push round 2. But if Hamilfard tempo round 1 and they win, then you're kind of screwed, man. You go into a long run. I mean,
then you have
pack
to
your bags and leave.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Fran is also strong in a long round 3. So is AQ. Hyperthin, maybe not. But Meat is also strong round 3. I think that, like, speaking in general terms, we'll see a lot of long round 3. Because there's just a lot of decks that prefer that kind of that kind of gameplay. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, Meave is definitely very strong because also against Hamilfard, for example, Hamilfard doesn't have a lot of control, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you play against Meave and Meave can play all her engines and they getting points every turn, I think Meave can probably win from a Hamilfard.
Yeah. So to kind of sum it up, I think that I'm lost. I don't really know what will be playable in the tournament when it comes to Syndicate. BJ says Gudrun, obviously, because Gudrun Shoop.
Yeah, Gudrun Shoop.
Bebo brought a very interesting point of Silas Hammerfall being there. But yeah, the silent force behind the podcast. Villa, your take on Syndicate in the tournament.
For sure, we're gonna see Syndicate, and the two decks that I think are gonna make it are probably either Gudrun or Horson, just because simply they are very good at what they do. Horson supports the bounty control like very, very well, and then on the other side of the coin, Gudrun is really, really good at point slamming. So I think those two leaders we can definitely expect to see when Syndicate. And if Syndicate is going to be played. So I think those are the two leaders that we are going to definitely see the most. Also, I kind of dislike Hemmelfart because if you push it round 2 and you draw really bad, you don't get your swarm cards and whatnot. It's kind of like, what can you do?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Horson is an interesting idea here. I haven't seen Horson, but in my neck of the woods, somewhere in the depth of the ladder, you don't see a lot of variety of that kind. But yeah, Horson, interesting.
Yeah, Horson is pretty good though. And if like Kalapama mentioned earlier, right? Like there are a lot of engines being played on ladder, and Horson simply destroys one of the engines and gets some coins back, perhaps.
Yeah. And you can pair it with the Kataplakis.
Yeah, the Kataplakis with Portal, for example.
It just removes everything.
Yeah. I mean, so in the first round they don't do they have like deck list or not? Because if once you know that the opponent is playing Kataplakis, you can play around, play against that with a certain mindset, right?
Yeah.
To push.
Yeah, you can also play around it. You can just bleed it around too as well.
Yeah. But I think from what I remember is like the first, it's all closed. Nobody knows what the opponent is playing.
No.
But after that, they know the deck list. I think I'm not sure. Maybe Samper can confirm. He's in the chat. But yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah.
So overall predictions of the tournament. Like it is impossible to say who's gonna win, obviously. But who are you guys rooting for?
Of course, Freddy Babes, man.
BeeBo?
Even though I'm
BeeBo, your favorite?
Oh man. I don't have a favorite. I don't know. I really don't have a favorite for these tournaments. I like everyone. The one who like makes me like who the person I'm most curious about though is because Chezzy's pretty much stopped streaming to practice for this. And he's kind of been like seclusive and getting ready. So I'm curious about what he's bringing.
Yeah, that's a very good point here.
He like turned into a hermit to practice for this. So it's like what are you up to?
Freddy Babes has also not been streaming as of late.
Yeah, guys, it makes sense. You don't want to stream the decks you're gonna bring to the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, personally, I would say like Freddy is a very likable guy, and the old Freddy Emir meme, the card that somebody made. I'm a Novigrad man.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But on the other hand, I'm always rooting for the underdog and Magpie. First tournament, a newcomer.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that approach.
Villa, who are you rooting for this tournament?
I mean, I don't have a favorite because I like to support all the players as much as I can. But if I absolutely had to pick one that I'd like to see win a tournament, would be Atsikov because he hasn't won a tournament before.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think we are slowly approaching the last segment, which is Gwent and Twitch. Like, we are all streamers, so we've seen the ups and downs of Gwent on this platform. I'm the stat guy. I like the numbers, so I'm closely following how Gwent is doing on Twitch. How do you guys think that the recent changes and the push for mobile is going to affect the viewership and the overall condition of Gwent on the platform?
Well, I think because of the mobile release, I think they will definitely be playing, especially in Asia. I've seen a documentary about Asia and like mobile games. They're like insane. They always are in these trams or trains, and they always play these mobile games. So I think if once Gwent is releasing on the mobile platform, there will definitely be a lot of new players from Asia. I think so. Maybe BeeBoBoop can tell more about it.
Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to say because we have the documentaries, we have comments that to some might sound even ignorant, but BeeBo is actually he actually lives in Japan. Like, he has the first-hand experience, but he's also a Gwent partner. I think he relies on the success of Gwent on Twitch much more than we do because we stream on the side, right? It's not our job. And if I'm not mistaken, BeeBo streams for a living. So
I mean, you say I live in Japan, but I live in the mountain. I don't talk to anyone. So, I don't know what the heck the outside world is up to be honest with you.
now Vila likes you even more.
I live in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but overall, Aki, you stream full time, right? That's your job.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think the future of Gwent, like what it's gonna look like, and how it's gonna affect your living as a streamer?
I mean, mobile, if you're talking about mobile is absolutely going to be huge. Yeah, of course. It will be game changing. It really will. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's one of the reasons why Hearthstone, sorry, I said the H word. I'm sorry, guys. One of the reasons why that game is so popular. And it's of course, that's what Blizzard too. So, but I mean, mobile is just huge for games like this. These are the perfect types of games that you can play, like you were saying, on the train, on a commute. It's perfect time span for it. And,
exactly.
I mean, it's obvious. I don't think we need to go into detail about why, but it will definitely increase viewership and total number of players.
So what I'm thinking about, will there be more casuals playing Gwent that are going to play on mobile, or will there be more competitive players joining Gwent because it's
Yeah,
mobile.
I don't think that mobile as a medium supports competitive play. Like you cannot really play competitively and focus on your matches while being on the train. It's not really possible. Like you're not gonna have the focus to do it.
That's a good point.
But yeah,
but I don't think mobile is only for people on a train. It's for people that maybe don't have a PC to play Gwent and they can just lay in bed and play. So it's not it's not just for that. Definitely,
especially since the performance of Gwent on PC is questionable, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if you Villa, mobile and Twitch and Gwent. Like you are not streaming a lot, but you are streaming, and I think that you might be streaming more in the future. So what's your take, man?
I mean, I think mobile, of course, is gonna have I'd like to think at least a positive effect on Gwent and the amount of streamers that we're gonna get, or new streamers that we're gonna get. But honestly, I don't think the mobile is gonna be as big of a success as CDPR hopes it to be, which is of course sad because they clearly are putting time into it, and investing a lot of money to it. Like last update, on this update rather, we got the whole new versus screen, and definitely shows that they're trying to support the mobile genre, I guess. But honestly, I think it's gonna. I don't like to say flop, but it's not gonna be as amazing and great as CDPR hopes it to be.
Personally, I think that tournaments have as much of an impact on the viewership on Twitch as mobile would have. Like the one thing that we are missing in the last months is tournaments. Like, tournaments bring a lot of people to the platform because you always get some goodies. But people who are maybe not very, very into Gwent on Twitch, they get an email. Hey, if you watch, you get something in return, and maybe they're gonna like it. And you can always see that shortly after the tournament, for a couple of weeks at least, there's way more viewers than usual because people just explore all these new Gwent streamers and they like some of them. They keep watching, and this is something that I think most streamers have missed because if you look at the numbers, like okay, Homecoming Gwent took a huge hit in terms of viewership, hours watched, everything. Then it kind of we had a short surge when it comes to Crimson Curse because it was properly marketed. Like everyone knew about it. It was everywhere. Like you could for the first time in a very long time you could read and hear about Gwent outside of the Gwent bubble. And like one thing that I was kind of worried about, and it didn't really change a lot when it comes to the viewership, is the Novigrad expansion. Like, unless you were already familiar with Gwent and unless you already knew about the expansion, you wouldn't hear about it anywhere. And even if you look about
it wasn't
viewers,
marketed at all.
Like it was just a regular patch. Like you still see the viewership declining through the expansion. So like that's really why I'm hoping for the tournament to bring a new wave of viewers and potential players as well. And how do what do you guys think? Like maybe it's just my opinion, maybe it's just like I'm biased or anything, but yeah, I really think the tournaments have a big impact, and I would like to hear your opinions. Let's start with BeeBoBoop. Tournaments and your viewership, like your experience.
I mean, it's not an opinion, it's not biased, it's fact. If you can literally go and look at stream stats, whatever the website is, Twitch stats, and you can look at Gwent and see that every open, every challenger has literally brought an influx. And the graph literally will look like this, tournament, and slowly go back down until the next tournament, go back up. That's just how it works. It does bring people in to watch. It does bring new viewers, not only for that event, but for all streamers that are playing Gwent afterwards for a certain amount of time. And this is one of the reasons why Gwent has been kind of, I don't want to say stagnant, because compared to other games, Artifact, Gwent is actually doing pretty good. In terms of viewership, it's stable, but we haven't had these spikes in such a long time, and this is what we need. We need tournaments for that. So yeah, definitely, it's going to be huge, bigger than mobile, I think. But yeah, both of those combined is going to be. I hope it brings numbers back to the game.
Yeah, BJ. Tournaments?
Well, I have not. I don't have much to, but I think definitely tournament has a big impact on Gwent's viewership on Twitch. Like whenever CD Projekt Red goes live and streams, like either Cyberpunk or Gwent, like any or any other game, people start popping by and see what's going on, and I think a lot of old players might join the Twitch chat to see what's going on with Gwent. Like, is it still did it become better, or is it still the game that I did not like, and which was the reason to stop playing the game, for example. So I think definitely it will attract old players again. Maybe they will give it another go, and maybe they will stick around.
Villa? Yeah, I know you're not streaming a lot, but you're definitely gonna stream after the tournament, or maybe during the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think every time CDPR goes live, yeah, like Joseph said, it's like a big bump on the viewership in general, and I think that tournaments for sure they have a huge positive effect, and this is why I think they shouldn't delay on competitive stuff at all. Rather, they should focus on it more, especially in the future, because that's something that really keeps the community going for sure.
Yeah.
So they better announce something about season 2 for, otherwise people just start leaving Gwent.
Yeah, because I think that mobile might bring a wave of new players, potential new players, but what keeps the community together and what keeps people playing is the competitive scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like even me, I don't play competitively. You guys know that, but I still follow the competitive scene. I still want to watch the competitive streamers. I still watch the tournaments, and if there wasn't any kind of competitive format going on, it would be. I wouldn't have this much of an incentive to watch and play, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, guys. I think we explored all the topics that we had, but there is one more thing that we can do.
One more thing, guys. One more thing.
BJ, you were in charge of gathering all the crucial questions that our viewers want to have answered. So now is the time.
There were a couple of crucial questions that caught my eye. And the first one was from Smelly Legend. He asked to us, has there been any Angie road? And I think the answer is no, because the pikemen.
Can you repeat the question, because you kind of cut off at some point?
I cut off. I can do it like this. So the question was, has there been any Angie row punish on? And I answered that there are not many punish anymore, I believe. Like there used to be a lot of pikemen. Like people were playing pikeman, and then people were afraid of it, so they were row stacking on the range row, and then you could play like a last raid. You got like a tons of points, right? Yeah. But because of the new bronze core in Nilfgaard, which is basically having Figo on the brigades and the tactic package, you don't see the pikemen anymore because there's no room for it. So it's definitely not a case anymore.
Maybe it would be different if there was a tactic that punishes row stacking, because you could potentially do it with Menno, and it basically synergize with the rest of your deck. But you're not gonna play a spell in your tactic-filled deck, especially if you're playing Ardo. It relies on the number of tactics that you have in your deck.
Yeah, exactly. I think the answer is no.
So far, but we never know. Like the new cards are coming.
Yeah.
I don't know anything for sure, but considering that we got an expansion in March and we got another one in June, so 3 months since the beginning of the year each time. So maybe you're gonna get an expansion soon. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I really hope for some new cards. BJ, next question, my friend.
Next question. Driftling. He says, is Homecoming better, more fun than beta? Why? So am I the person that is going to answer that, or?
You know, maybe if you were sitting more in the center, because we only see half of your face now. Like you have to play around with the microphone. But yeah, the question was if Homecoming is better than Beta. That's such a debate.
I mean, we
They're
already.
different games.
Yeah.
That's the answer right there. They're different games.
Yeah, I think that's the only correct answer. Because if you think about it, whatever you say other than this, people are gonna be mad.
Yeah, but to try and to make an attempt on that, to answer that question, I think in old Beta you had like a lot of archetypes, like very well structured and a lot of faction identity, and I feel like that's a little bit missing. It's more like you play more kind of like mid-range decks, or just cards that are just good. You just put all the cards in the deck that are, and I feel like it's becoming better. Like than the start of Home. There are more archetypes, and archetypes are slowly evolving, constructed archetypes. But I definitely feel it should still be a point to work on. It should definitely still be worked on by CD Projekt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm trying
I
to
would like to
say.
see certain artifacts just more fleshed out. Because I loved archetypes. It's a personal opinion. It's not. I'm not gonna say that Homecoming is a worse or better product than Beta, but it's a different game. But one thing that I would like to see transferred from Beta onto Homecoming is more archetypes, because we see that sometimes they just print cards that potentially work in an archetype, but you just don't see enough support for the archetype to be playable. It's there. It's not fleshed out. It's not finished, and some archetypes are just better than others. Assimilate. But yeah, we are seeing more and more synergies being back. For example, Skellige and basically the great swords are back. The self wounding resetting archetype is back. This card is there. This card is not great. It could use a little bit of a buff, but it's there, and you can see it also in other factions. Like I think that as we slowly see more reworks, the archetypes are there. Like and personally, from like let's say a Nilfgaardian point of view, like we have one actual archetype that works, that is playable, that is strong, and that's tactics. And that's something I'm really happy about, and I definitely hope to see more of those reworks and new additions in the future. But I would really like to hear Villa's stance on this, because he plays competitively, and it's different than just being okay. I meme around. I have an archetype to play with. So Villa, how do you see it? Homecoming, Beta, from your point of view, which was better? Which do you enjoy more?
I think like I don't want to say that either is better or worse than the other. I think that's unfair. Like BeeBo said, it's a different game, but I think I liked Beta because it had a lot of artifacts. Artifacts. A lot of archetypes. And archetypes are something that I definitely like. I would like to see more in Homecoming, or I guess New Gwent as well. I mean, since the real only archetypes that I think we've had are for now we have Anna with either commandos or boost. We have Skellige with, like you said, basically the old greatsword, self wound, heal, and then tactics, Nilfgaard. I think those are like, and then of course Bounty Syndicate, which got tuned down. So I think these have been the only real archetypes that we've had thus far, and I'd definitely like to see more. But I also like, I also like the approach they took with New Gwent or Homecoming or whatever you want to call it. It's something different and new, and yeah, it's a breath of fresh air than just, I guess, slamming points on completely all the time, like it pretty much used to be in the old Gwent.
Okay, next question, BJ. What do you have for us?
So Bing one said, is artifact hate going to be prevalent in Circle? Because I assume like people are playing more Summoning Circle at the moment on the ladder. But there's not that much artifact right now on the ladder. Will that be the case in the tournament?
Only if the artifact hate also has a secondary ability, or also only if it can be played in different situations. Like in the first invocation, you can remove an artifact, but you can do also other things with it. BeeBoBoop, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, Yennefer, maybe if we see Shoop, of course, there's always that, 60%. It's tricky because I feel like other than Summoning Circle, what big artifacts are out there right now? That feels like there's Totem but Totem doesn't really matter if you
No.
destroy it, and it's like I can't think of any other huge artifacts that are a big problem. So it's like if you're bringing removal, it's mostly targeted just for Circle. So it's kind of, I don't think people, I don't know, that's a tricky one. Yeah, like you said, you're gonna have to have the multi-purpose removals, otherwise you might just be left with a garbage card in your deck, right? It's classic choices.
Heatwave removes artifacts as well, right?
Heatwave, yeah, it's another one. Wait, does it? Heatwave, right?
Yeah, Heatwave can remove an artifact. So
Right, okay. And
if
Heatwave
you-
is pretty prevalent right now, yeah.
Yeah. So perhaps that if you have that card in the deck, it's very just like any other order card can remove an artifact or like have the other row ability. It's either that, it's either those cards or the Karate Heat.
Yeah. Villa, do you have anything to add on the matter of artifact hate?
No, I think it's actually pretty balanced right now. Of course, it's hard to say when people don't play that many artifacts, but I think it's definitely better than what it was before. And yeah, I hope it stays the same or gets better, as long as we don't go down the route of artifacts becoming too strong again.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, because that's to no one's advantage. People absolutely hated the meta when artifacts were very prevalent. But hey guys, on to the. I think we have time for like 2 more questions, right? So that we answer 5 in total. BJ, next question. What do you have for us?
Next question is also the last question that caught
Okay.
my eye.
Easy.
What is the best card in the game, Baby Joseph? By Smelly Legend. I mean, Weisberg, you know the answer, right?
The best card in the game. I don't think there is an answer to that. Like we could talk about maybe.
Shoop.
It's probably one of the best cards. But yeah, I think we could just change the question to maybe the best undervalued card, underappreciated card, like a card that potentially generates a lot of value, gives you a lot of points, and is very flexible, but is just not played enough. Maybe we could just spin it like that. Like, what do you guys think is a card that's not widely played, but it's still really, really strong? BeeBoBoop, you go first, as always. You are the guest.
Don't go me first. Don't go me first. I'm thinking.
Okay, so let's reverse the cycle. Villa, you go first.
Yeah.
I think the card that I'm gonna pick is probably Becca's Dark Mirror. The card is really good. It can heal and boost, and it can, punish for playing greedy. Especially if your opponent plays greedy. I think it's still a good card. Of course, it just doesn't really fit into any certain decks right now, so it's hard to fit in. But I think this card is still very good.
All right, yeah, that's a very interesting pick, man. I haven't seen that card in ages, but I see why you picked it. BJ.
What card? It doesn't see much play, but it's still a good card. I mean, Trinet mentioned Summoning Circle, but Summoning Circle has always been played, but not as much. Maybe that can count as one of the cards. I don't have Gwent open right now. Let me think about it as well.
It's a hard question.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my pick, and you guys know I have to pick a Novigrad card, obviously. And if you are familiar with my adventures, you know what I'm gonna say. My boy, Tony Showman. I absolutely love this card. And before people say this guy is absolutely out of his mind, think about this. Everyone is playing the Create Tactic package, so you already have double diplomacy, you have bribery, some people play remedy, some people play Ardo, some people play Swears, and Shomar synergizes with all of it. It's only 8 provisions. You need 2 cards to break even on the provision cost. And if you were watching me yesterday, you were playing against monsters. You create Neckers, and they count for 4 points each. So you have 2 Neckers, 8 points on Shomar. So Shomar is a lot of value in the longer round, where you can actually create something. And then if you are playing against Novigrad, guaranteed 11. Unless your opponent is not playing anything that's tall enough. Which is unlikely because Hyperthing is very popular. Like last season, it basically carried me to the DJ territory, which was like rank 3, the DJ territory. The card just carried me there. Because there was a lot of Novigrad just trying to counter Foltest and DJ. And since I was playing the tactic package, just create some stuff, play Shomar to either, surprise take round 1 with a huge card on the end, or just a great finisher. For 8 provisions, I think the card is really good. Like, one thing that I would like Shomar to synergize with is neutrals, because if you let's say seize a neutral, then you're not gonna get a tick on Shomar, and you cannot damage to neutrals either, so that's kind of bad. I think that should be changed. But other than that, I really like this card. For 8 provisions, 4 points, just 2 creates, or C1 sees 1 create to get 8 points and break even against Novigrad, guaranteed 11.
Yeah. In the mirror match, it's devastating, right? In the match,
and nobody expects it. Like, it's an amazing feeling. You play against Novigrad, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna play this card," and then you just smash it with Shomar, and you can see them highlighting this card because they have never seen it before. I'm a huge fan of Shomar.
Yeah, and I think also a card that we should mention, Danline Poet. He got buffed in the recent patch. And
provisions, right? He was 14.
Yeah. It was 14, so it was really expansive. But now he's 12. It can potentially draw you really, potentially can help you a lot if you want to play tempo. But I've seen people play Danline Poet. I've been playing it myself as well with Naglafar, for example. So if you play Naglafar first, you always get a gold card on top of your, and then you play Danline Poet and you draw the gold which you can play. The downside of that is if you play, for example, Summoning Circle, which I did, it sometimes shows you for example, Spirit Tip, and it shows you Summoning Circle. So you play Spirit Tip from your Naglafar, and then you play Danline Poet on the Summoning Circle if you don't have any other choice. So that's really awkward in those kind of situations, but most of the time it's a lot of tempo. It gives you, in monsters, it gives you a gold card always.
Yeah. BeeBo, you can't escape the question anymore.
Shit. My gosh. Okay. I have to say Camby, right? I have to. I mean, is this like something we actually think is good, or like our favorite card? What are we going for here?
Favorite can be good, potentially.
All right, I gotta say Camby for that. I mean, but I can see Camby being actually good if played right, especially with Hyperthin and Francesca and all of these big combo cards out there. Camby can actually throw away a really good card. Of course, it's also really easy to play around, so it's hard for me to.
Yeah, but nobody expects it.
That's true. Nobody does expect the Camby attack. I want to throw one more in, and that would be Hemdall, though. I do think Hemdall is actually very powerful. I just want to, and that's with Summoning Circle point a Greatsword, and then playing Hemdall. Combos like that can be insane. I do think this card is very powerful.
All right. Thank you for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
answers, guys. I think that just like that, we arrived at the end of the podcast. So yeah, first and foremost, I would like to thank Bebo for being here with us today. Like it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Bebo.
having me.
I've always enjoyed your content, and to be the first guest on our podcast, that's an honor.
Thank you.
And yeah, guys, if you are still watching, please remember to follow us on Twitter at Novigrad Podcast. If you have any questions, you can also tweet to us or send me or BJ or Vela a personal message. The video is gonna be on YouTube in a couple of hours, so make sure to type !YouTube and follow us there. And yeah, the next episode is gonna be in 2 weeks. We don't have a guest yet, but we'll do our best to get somebody at least as interesting as Bebo, which is gonna be really hard. Because this guy is an absolute champ. So yeah, guys, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. This was the first episode of Merchants on Novigrad, a bi-weekly podcast where we discuss everything Gwent. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for your insights and your experiences. Really appreciate it. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.
See you guys.